Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about the US weather pattern for the next week. And as you could tell, there is a mention for a large system. It is very far out. I just want to let you know, if you're watching this video thinking this will impact your Sunday, tomorrow, or this week ahead, it doesn't look likely. This storm will be mainly unfolding around a week from now. Obviously, the chances are still they're actually moderate for at least being this far out, but the confidence is low because it's that far out. So, just be willing to accept change if it does occur, since the weather models I will show you here are bound to change. Alright, so welcome to my channel if you are new. I am a weather enthusiast, a weather hobbyist, not a meteorologist, but we have a fun weather community on here that people love to talk about the weather. So if you guys would like to join, that would be awesome. You can do so by subscribing. And if you are a returning viewer or you would just like to support the channel, liking the video would be astronomically amazing. Alright, so let's start talking about the weather. I want to show you the GFS first, and I had the European open because I was looking at that. I should have been more prepared, but that's my life story in a couple of words. Should have been more prepared, right? So let's start talking about this. This is the US view and Southern Canadian view. Again, I do include Canada in my forecast as much as possible. I try including all regions, but sometimes I do focus a little bit more on the eastern half of the United States. But I definitely do try my best to focus on the West. And I definitely do acknowledge the fact that I do speak less about the West, and usually that's because I'm a bit less confident about the weather there. The mountains skew really things up, but I do track weather for those locations as well. Right now we are looking at a tropical storm potential. I actually don't really know at this point if it is or not. I don't think it is yet, but it will probably be named if it isn't. No, it is named. Sorry, yeah, I saw yesterday it was already named. Just a little brain fart, typical, right? And this will really sit around in the Gulf for a while. And like I said yesterday, I won't be tracking these hurricanes or making separate videos about them. And the other one that could be possibly making its way towards southern Canada. And these storms are very dangerous, impactful, and usually they contribute to loss of lives. So I prefer not to put out any information that may be wrong, especially since I'm way more likely to be wrong than the National Hurricane Center or NOAA. Because they're the professionals. They have meteorologists that are, very, very skilled. Despite what people say about them, that they get their forecast wrong and stuff like that. It's just weather is very hard, and the schooling that meteorologists have to go through, at least the ones at the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, they're experts. They go through just really math that is basically at the level of a physicist. So it's definitely way more qualified than I am. I need to really amplify that. So I will leave that to the professionals. Notice that as we push this into the forecast range, we see this storm. I can still show you what it does according to the GFS. Just keep an eye if you're in the Texas, Louisiana area. I think our hurricane watch is off, or near those locations, or tropical storm watches and warnings. Heed warnings. This could be a heavy rainmaker, lots of rain. That seems to be the biggest threat. And notice it's pretty small, but it does stay around the Gulf Coast for a while, and you can see it just spins, stays, and dumps loads of precip. Notice we also have this bad boy right here, which is a way bigger storm. Thankfully, it doesn't hit really Maine or the Northeast, as that's where a lot more people live than compared to southern Canada. But obviously, folks do live in southern Canada. It's not a void, right? So let's take a quick look at the southeastern Canadian view. I do apologize. I'm having a tough time trying to find it. You probably saw it before I did. And we see that this storm is pretty strong, right? It's going to be a major hurricane. At this point right here in time, I don't think it will be a major hurricane. It will most likely be a Category 1 or a Category 2 at most. But it really quickly weakens even before it hits land because of the cool waters. There's still a lot of winds with it. It's a strong storm, very powerful winds, but you notice how it's not really that organized like a classic hurricane like it would be once it's by really at the level of kind of New Jersey. Most likely the Northeast at this point won't get impacted by a direct landfall. Some winds definitely are possible, some beach erosion maybe, that's the biggest concern. This thing is a wind beast, so that will drive some heavy waves onto the shores. But notice, lots of rain for southeastern Canada, but it does quickly destroy itself in the cool waters. Total accumulated precipitation, again, you can see pretty large amounts. They have toned them down, if you will, the models, compared to what they were showing a couple days ago. Though still, anything above 50 milliliters if fallen in a short amount of time, millimeters, sorry, I said milliliters. if 50 millimeters fall in a short amount of time, that could cause flooding. So let's take a look now at the U.S. and let's start talking about this storm. I do apologize. I did delay that. I try covering not just the topic of the title, if you will. The title just kind of contains what the biggest information piece is going to be about, or what the biggest story is. And the hurricane tropical storms are our biggest story, but again, I mentioned I want to leave that to the professionals. Notice that as we push into this week, so right now we're Saturday, and you may be watching this on Sunday, Monday. Notice we see a disturbance of precipitation, some rain, some showers across the northern United States and southern Canada. This earlier on in the week appeared to be much stronger, appeared to be a more substance system, if you will, had a potential to become a larger storm. And that doesn't seem to be the case at this point. The models have really diminished that threat, and they have pointed towards more of a smaller, really not significant storm. Obviously, some rain will occur, but a lot of these locations are pretty dry. But you can see northern Minnesota, I know I saw on a drought monitor, they are dry. I know many other locations are dry as well, but I know for sure that location is, because for some reason that caught my attention. I think it's pretty bad up there. The rain really doesn't seem to organize until it's past there. Hopefully we could get that a bit more to organize a bit quicker earlier on. But notice it does track across southern Canada, dropping some showers and rain. Nothing too significant, really not big of a threat, and it moves into the northeast. Unfortunately, they would like to see some rain across the northeast, and they're not going to get that either from the Teddy, this big beast right here, or really from this wave right here. But southeastern Canada definitely will see rain out of that. Labrador, Newfoundland, and Nova Scotia, not necessarily Quebec, because from that storm they won't. From this storm they may see a little bit. So as we push this forward, we see another little weak disturbance, kind of a little piece of energy that came on shore as of these past couple of days, and you can see it kind of dwindles as it continues, doesn't have the organization that it needs in order to become a large storm. And as we push into really the Friday and into Saturday time frame, we see lots of showers and storms across the Gulf Coast. This isn't anything new. I said that like if it would be new. With the date and everything, but this is actually just a continuation of this tropical storm continuing to dump showers. Notice it's weakening as it moves up and along into time. I didn't go over the timing in particular with this. I do apologize. I just realized that. But really, just Thursday and late Wednesday into early Thursday, this storm is occurring. Again, this won't most likely be a all day rain soaker. This will be a quick come and go, if you will, and it will be kind of scattered in nature, so nothing to be concerned about really at all. And more, hopefully that this could be more of a substantial thing since it is pretty dry. As we push this forward, we see a large storm make its way onto the northwest. The first large storm makes its way kind of onto the northwest into Thursday and Friday, Wednesday into Thursday, but that one really does nothing. And we see the next large storm, which is our storm of interest, into around a week from now, Saturday, and into early Sunday. And notice that this low pressure, it looks as if it kind of gets eaten up by the mountains, and that's kind of what happens, right? But this storm relies on the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and the remnants from this tropical storm to form. Now, let me warn you here, the GFS really doesn't do much with this storm. This model run, you can see, shows this precipitation flying around the map, but it doesn't really organize it into a substantial event. The European and the GFS Para, the kind of the updated newer version of the GFS, are showing, both of those models are showing a more substantial storm. GFS, again, you can see it shows a lot of moisture flying around, scattered showers, maybe trying to organize something in 2 weeks out in time frame, but really nothing significant, and it keeps warm temperatures in play for much of the United States, which is a stark difference from what the European and GFS Para are showing. So let's take a look at the GFS Para. This model run is from the 6Z, because this model is always a bit behind and sometimes has certain pieces of its data information missing. But thankfully, we have it relatively quickly updating. And if you look at some other time frames, there were times in the past where this model was 4 to 5 days behind schedule, and now it's only a couple hours behind, so still relatively fresh information. So notice we have, again, this tropical storm make its way onto the Gulf Coast, and maybe a hurricane at some point of its cycle, most likely not by landfall. Notice we have Hurricane Teddy, This model has it a bit affecting portions of, extreme eastern Maine and southeastern Canada, really close to Maine, if you will. But Labrador, Newfoundland, and Nova Scotia will get impacted by this pretty significantly. Notice we do have that cold front again. Agreement is pretty good, keeps it weak and miserable. Then we have that storm making its way onto Sunday, and really it kind of looks as if it comes out of nowhere, because look, we have the storm come on right here, the energy is kind of right here, all circling, and the low pressure is stuck right there, transfers its energy to the north, and this low pressure starts forming, which heavily relies on the moisture from the tropical storm. And you can see that then forms into a pretty large system, dumping even some snow just north of Sault Ste. Marie on the southern Canadian border. And lots of rain for the Midwest potentially, which would be great news. It's dry. We need that rain. And notice this turns out into a classic comma-shaped low pressure. And this is usually associated with fall storms the most, or, kind of spring storms. And I'm trying to draw this out, but I have to shift my little recording icon so I could access the pen tool. Notice we do have right here that cold front. Here we have that warm front, and here's a low pressure. And if it were to be colder, this would be all snow, and that's where usually blizzards form. Here you could, get dumpings of snow, feet of snow. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending who you are, if you're a snow lover or not, this storm doesn't have a lot of cold air to work with. It does dump a lot of snow across Canada, not really the US though. And notice this thing is a very sprawling low pressure, and it is impressive to say the least. After that occurs, we see a continued trend of storms according to this model run, and bringing in quite a bit of cool air. So another storm system right there to do with the tropics. So very, very interesting weather going on, and we'll have to monitor this as we go forward. The European also makes things very exciting. So let's take a quick look at that. We start off at hour 6, so, kind of right now, we have that tropical storm, possibly a hurricane at some point, make its way onto the Gulf Coast into Monday and into Tuesday. But it's going to be a thing that lasts, affects those areas this whole upcoming week. We do see a weak low pressure right there. I forgot to mention that will be coming across the next couple of days across southern Canada into Saskatchewan, Manitoba. The thing is, though, that this will probably be the strongest at this point, and you can see just weakens and doesn't do much, at least in our viewing area. May move to the pole and dump some snow across Greenland. That's about it, though. Notice we have a Hurricane Teddy. Relatively, all the models are consistent. The European brings it a bit closer to the shore than the other models, though it doesn't, and I'm saying shore as in the U.S. shore. It's obviously still going to impact southeastern Canada, but it looks as if it will be just impacting the northeast, extreme northeast, kind of the eastern half of the northeast. Eastern, sorry, not half, eastern, like eighth of the northeast, with a few showers and storms. That's about it. Then we have the European show, this little system right here. Again, weekends, very miserable. So we have confidence against, or among all three models on that, so that's awesome to see. Then we see a low pressure move to the north, really very far to the north, kind of obscure, but really what that does is this cold front allows energy to kind of survive and flourish with the tropical storm moisture that is remnant, and you can see that a storm definitely does look to develop, almost a print copy of what the GFS Para is showing. So, when we have two models that are pretty good models showing almost the exact same things, it gives us a bit more confidence. European doesn't really show much snow as the GFS did, the Para did, but a big storm for sure, a large system, and quite a good dosing of cooler air it shows as well. In the 2-meter temperature anomalies right now, there are cooler temperatures. We push this into the long range. We see generally a warm pattern for this week across much of the United States. Maybe the southeast will see some cool weather to do with the cloud cover from the tropical system, but at points, especially late this week, we could be looking at just almost a late fall heat wave that gets kind of halted after that storm passes through. We get a nice cool off. Not too impressive, just brings things closer to normal. Again, for October, I do think it will look to be a warm pattern, but this is still September. As of here, September did throw us a few curveballs and brought a few wave shots, or cool shots of air, if you will, but it definitely will start getting warmer. And overall, September was cooler across the Midwest, but it definitely is gonna get a little bit kind of evened out this upcoming week by this heat. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing. If not, perfectly fine. I'll see you guys on the next episode. See ya.